On the surface, Itchy and Scratchy Land is a really interesting episode of The Simpsons, and it's one that I've seen several times, and I always really enjoy it. But having done a bit of research in preparation for discussing it, there are actually some really fascinating things about this, things that I've learned from IMDb, things that I haven't corroborated with additional sources, but I will explain what those are in a moment with, I guess, spoiler warning because it may spoil some aspects of the episode. This is the fourth episode of the sixth season of The Simpsons, directed by Wesley Archer, and this aired originally in October 1994. And The Simpsons are going on holiday to Itchy and Scratchy Land, which is a theme park centered around Itchy and Scratchy, and needless to say, it's very much like Disneyland. They have the parade, and there are so many other little things that if you've been to a Disney park or if you're a fan of Disney parks, you'll kind of pick up on along the way, which for me, I rather enjoyed. It's not the first time, and it's certainly not the last time that The Simpsons give a not so subtle nod to Disney. But when they're there, basically things just start to go wrong. Partly with Bart's behaviour and Homer's behaviour. Some of the rides are a little bit questionable. But ultimately, it's about the robots in the parade, and I won't say any more than that at the moment with what happens with those robots. I don't want to spoil it, but I thought it was certainly a very interesting take on these characters, and I think it worked very well. It was violent, and I'll talk more about the violence in a moment, but it definitely is a very violent, bloodthirsty episode where what should be a sweet, fun family vacation turns out to be monstrous and disastrous. And from a viewing perspective, really thoroughly enjoyed it. Very well animated. I loved kind of seeing what the park looked like, the rides, the different designs. As I've mentioned probably many times, I love it when animations include theme parks or fun fairs or carnivals, that kind of thing. I think it's always a lot of fun. And that's definitely the case here. I think we had some great point of views from the robots. The designs of them I thought were pretty great. In all, on the surface, it's a really great episode. So there'll be some spoilers from now as I'm going to discuss the few things that I learned from IMDb's trivia, which I think usually with an episode of The Simpsons I don't dig too much into the background of it, but with this one I'm glad I did, because there are quite a few interesting things, and apparently this episode was created in response to an increase in censorship laws. Fox apparently tried to stop the writers from including the Itchy and Scratchy cartoons in the episode, because obviously they are quite violent, and they threatened to just cut out those cartoons if they kept them in. So, apparently they responded with an episode that was all about Itchy and Scratchy, and that was, needless to say, the most violent and bloodthirsty episode of The Simpsons to date, and they'd have a difficult time cutting that out. Apparently, the Fox did threaten to cut it up still, but David Merkin threatened to tell the media about what was going on, and apparently that's how this episode eventually aired, which I think is certainly very fascinating. It was also apparently heavily censored in Australia until 1999. A lot of it was apparently cut up. They lost over 2 minutes of the cartoon, which for a 20-minute cartoon, 20-something minutes, that's like 10% of it. So it is actually very fascinating. There's also apparently a goof where Cletus is taking a picture and there's a woman next to him who is black and then is white in the next shot. I haven't gone back to the episode to watch that, but I'm definitely going to go and do that. I really liked it. On the surface, I thought it was good fun. Digging deeper into it, I think it's really fascinating. Definitely one of the most interesting episodes of The Simpsons from that perspective. It's not one of my all-time favourite episodes, but it is one that whenever I've seen it, I've really enjoyed it. Both as a Disney fan, I like kind of the comparison there. There are a lot of the jail and things. There are a lot of subtle things. Apparently there is a jail at every Disney park. I'm not 100% sure how accurate that is. If anybody can confirm that, please feel free. But yeah, there are lots of little things that I found to be entertaining. Itchy and Scratchy Land is definitely an all-round, really fascinating, entertaining episode.